Hey movie geeks, I hope you're having a good day. This video was requested by John Eastwood, who is one of my channel members. If you're interested in becoming a channel member for a small amount each month and perks such as requested reviews, click that join button now. So I'm so glad that John requested this film because this is an absolutely stunning piece of work. This is one of the best films ever made, and I hadn't seen it until John requested it, so thank you very much. The film tells the story of a young boy named Billy Casper who lives in a working class community in northern England. He struggles at school, is living in an abusive family, he gets bullied, but he finds solace in training a kestrel that he finds in the countryside. I love films about childhood. I love the authentic films about childhood. You know, films such as Spirit of the Beehive, The 400 Blows, Elsa, Hugo, Ivan's Childhood, Cinema Paradiso. I just love those films about the confusion of childhood, honest depictions of that time, where you can feel very alienated, where you cannot understand the world at all. Films that capture the innocence of childhood, but also the real terror that you can go through as a child when you just don't understand the world and no one understands you. Directed by Ken Loach, he takes such a realistic approach to the film. He took on mostly non-professional actors, which just adds so much believability and grit to the film. David Bradley plays Billy. This performance is powerful. This performance is fantastic, and he wasn't a trained actor. Just goes to show that sometimes that can really work. I don't think anyone would take that chance today, but Ken Loach did that. And David Bradley's so genuine. He's always on the edge, he's always in fear, and he doesn't understand why everyone's got it in for him. He's such a tragic character, and you just really feel his alienation and his sense of desperation. He barely even exists in this film. He gets ignored by everyone. His family, the other kids at school, the teachers are horrible to him. This takes you back to a time, late 60s Britain was brutal. It was savage, especially in a poor town like this. You see how the teachers treated the kids in this, and it was just like drill sergeants. There's one PE scene in this where the teacher is just relentless in how he picks on Billy, also physically abusive. Takes you back to a different time of school. You know, I'm so glad we've kind of moved past this. This was a savage time that could create people, it could either create winners or losers. People these days who want to return back to the days when things were less snowflakey and more hard, those people don't realise the damage that it would have caused. It would have created winners and losers, simple as that. Some people would have reacted well to this. It would have had that counterintuitive thing of someone wanting to fight back against it and they get tough from it. For someone like Billy, it didn't work because Billy needed more than just people being tough on him. He had no love in his life at all. He just had loneliness. He just had confusion. He had no confidence. You know, just giving a child casual abuse to try and make them tough. I just don't agree with that.
Maybe I am sometimes, but I'm not that bad, sir. I know stacks of other kids that swear to me, but they seem to get away with it.
Why else do you think? Eh? There must be some reason, mustn't there?
Well, take this morning, sir. I just came in, sir, and just dozed off. I wasn't doing nothing wrong, sir. You see, I'd been up since 6. I had to do up papers. Then I had to rush home to have a look at bird and then run to school. I mean to say, you'd be tired, wouldn't you, sir?
I'd be exhausted.
And that's not... You shouldn't be caring for that, should you, sir? And you can't tell Mr. Grass that. And this little lad, sir, he'd only brought a letter, sir, from one of the teachers, and he got caned. It's not to laugh at, sir.
And the scenes where Billy is abused are just heartbreaking, you know, by a teacher who puts him into a cold shower and just leaves him in there to basically freeze, to his insane brother who he lives with, who just beats him up at every turn, to his mum who doesn't love him properly. Just portrays such a harsh reality of working class life in northern England at the time. Poverty and lack of opportunities are rampant. Education is so important, but how can Billy have an education when the school's just a hellhole, where people are just constantly on him and constantly targeting him? I also love the little moments in this where Billy gets a little bit of peace. You know, there's childlike music as he's running at the start of the film. He gets to read a comic. You know, it reminded me of the days that I read this particular comic, Desperate Dan and the Dandy. He gets little moments of joy. Most of the time Billy is going through pain and suffering, but there are those little moments where he gets a sense of being carefree despite everything that's going on. So there's a sense of fear under the surface, but those little moments of joy, reading a comic, running around, and of course when he meets Kes. When Billy finds this kestrel, he finds something he can focus on, he finds something he can believe in, he finds a sense of escapism. And there's such a purity and a connection in those scenes where he's training Kes. And it's just about how potential people could have been missed at this time, because obviously Billy is looked at as completely worthless at school, but he's talented in the way that he's training this kestrel, and he manages to escape his troubles, and he manages to experience a sense of simplicity and connection with Kes. And these are beautiful scenes where he's training this bird. It's a powerful metaphor for the connection between humans and nature, and animals, the fascination we feel. Billy is obsessed with Kes. He just loves watching her. He loves how she doesn't have any troubles. He kind of manages to be elevated through her sense of freedom. That's what Billy's essentially looking for in this, freedom from everything that is weighing him down on his shoulders. There is one teacher in this film who has sympathy for Billy, and he's a kind character, and he takes an interest in Billy's relationship with Kes. And there's a nice little moment, a quiet moment, contemplative moment between these two as Billy tells him what he likes about Kes.
Is it tame? Is it tame? Ox, I can't be tamed. Demand. It's wild and it's fierce and it's not bothered about anybody. Not bothered about me, right? That's what makes it great.
A lot of people wouldn't understand that. They'd like their pets to be fussed.
I'm not bothered about that. I just wanted for her looks and to fly her. Then keep the talking budgies. They're not compared with her.
The thing about Billy is, when you talk to him normally, you can barely get through to him, but when you break down the layers and allow him to talk about what he believes in, which is Kes, he goes in front of the class and he's willing to talk about it, and his confidence comes out. And I really hope, I haven't been to school for years obviously, but I really hope that today in school we do focus on elevating the differences between children, having them actually be able to be appreciated for their interests. Here they still end up bullying him. It still is looked at as bizarre. It's looked at as not normal. And for me, the joy that comes out, you see this child come alive whenever he talks about Kes, shows me that we should be encouraging that creativity. We should be encouraging that whatever makes a child happy. We should be elevating that and not treating it as bad. Ken Loach's direction is incredible. Just such a naturalistic style that just immerses you in the world of the film. This is so believable. It doesn't feel like a film. It's full of real ground level intensity. We watch more abuse than what I expected. It's an uncompromising film. It's a nihilistic film. It's a dark film. But at the same time, it is a film full of innocence at the same time. It's just a complete, honest depiction. I think it's a spacious film. I think Ken Loach allows everything to breathe. I think there's a lot of moments of Billy just going about his day, but it draws you in. You get attached to Billy. You get interested. You're the only one who understands Billy. The viewer is the only one who understands Billy. You feel the alienation, and you feel it deeply. It's a film of great depth. The interactions, the working class interactions, are just so accurate. A time where things just weren't great for regular people, and people didn't focus on the right things because they were too obsessed with keeping a roof over their heads. Billy's mum is not a good person to him. Billy's brother is basically psychotic and basically just lives his life to torment Billy, and just shows how communities were rocked by the poverty and lack of opportunity that was going on at the time. People just lost hope. You think things are tough now in the country, but dear God, they were terrible here. So of course that final scene is heartbreaking stuff. It's one of the most devastating final scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I can't believe that Billy's brother Judd kills Kes. What a disgusting action. What an action that shows that Judd has given up on all decency, on all sense of love for Billy. Billy's mum barely cares. We get Billy just lose it and flip, and he tries to attack Judd. Then he finds Kes in the bin, and then he takes Kes out of the bin and, you know, desperately just takes Kes to his mum and says, look what he did. And his mum barely cares. Billy has lost the only thing that was giving him purpose in the whole world. And it's just so sad. And then, of course, Billy goes to bury Kes, where he found him. And Ken Loach doesn't choose to have very sad music. He doesn't choose to have Billy in floods of tears. He doesn't choose to make a big thing of it. You know, the death scene of Kes is pretty much just as quiet and just as contemplative as the rest of the film, and it works so well because he just allows it to sink in. We see yet another example of Billy's soul just dying in front of us. He doesn't really, he breaks down a little bit, he cries, and it is heartbreaking, but then he goes cold again, he goes quiet, and he just takes Kes and buries him, and the film ends. Wow, what a brave piece of work. You know, films would not end like this today. What a honest piece of work, because obviously many times films will try and have a happy ending. You could have had Billy get a job he enjoys working with animals and he could keep Kes. No, this film says life doesn't always go like that. Life doesn't go how movies tell us it goes. I'm going to show you how it did go for a lot of kids at the time, and I'm sure this was an honest depiction of what happened to a lot of kids at this time. Life was really tough. Life wasn't remotely the sunshine and rainbows that we think of childhood being. And I feel like David Bradley, you know, not a trained actor, but what a restrained performance. Doesn't go over the top with the sadness. Just seeing him out in the elements burying Kes with with no music, just so melancholy and just so silent, that scene. And then the film just ends. Thank you so much for requesting this, John. I think this is a staggering piece of work. I think it's one of the greatest films ever made. I love films like this. If you're a film enthusiast, and obviously my channel is for film enthusiasts and movie geeks, this is essential. This is absolutely essential to anyone with any passing interest in films, to be honest. Maybe not even a film enthusiast, but if you are one, definitely watch Kes. It is an unbelievable piece of work. Thanks for watching, and thank you for your request, John. If you are interested in becoming a channel member like John, press join underneath the video. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing for lots of videos for movie geeks and film enthusiasts, and I will see you guys next time.